We're going to be discussing time intelligence functions, but before that, we must also understand what it is. And time intelligence functions are really used to create calculations. But calculations of what? Of data over periods of dates and time. Now that we understand what time intelligence is, let's give a thought what we might require. We do have some prerequisites in order to use time intelligence. We need a calendar table. If we don't have a calendar table, we're not going to get any results that are reliable, much less good at all. So you must really use one that it has very detailed explanations of holidays, vacation days, leap years, all of those that really are going to be coming handy. Why? It also spans for a long time. If you're going to be analyzing data for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you're going to need a calendar table that covers all that period of time and dates. Know that in advance. So in other words, no calendar table equals inaccurate time intelligence, or none at all. Now that we have cleared the prerequisite that is really important for time intelligence, let's take a look at how do we get a calendar table. Getting one can be as simple as asking your IT department, whether that's the database administrator, your business intelligence admin or architect. They might have something in which you can start, or chances are they already have something that you can borrow upon or even use. I'm pretty sure that somebody might have been using that in your organization. If not, and you're out of luck, you still have a few other choices. One of them is getting one for free from the Azure Data Marketplace. You can go and get one for free. It doesn't cost you anything. You just have to have your account in which afterwards you're able to retrieve the information and use it within Power Pivot itself. Another choice, Power Query. You can do that. We will not demo any way of doing that, but beware that you can use it. Another choice is create one from scratch. Yes, not going to lie to you. It might be involved, very involved, because you're going to have to create dates that span who knows how long you need it to be. And as mentioned before, consider a lot of options. Leap years, holidays, a lot of variables that have applied before and that apply now and in the future. So time intelligent functions, how many do we have? We have a quick slide here showing how many they are. You don't have to know all of them in order to perform time intelligence calculations. Notice that a lot of these are very similar and spin-offs of the other. Derivations. We have opening, which has balance quarter and balance year. Previous day, previous year, previous month. Same period last year. Start of quarter, start of year. Totals quarter to date, totals year to date. Dates year to date. Close balance month, closing balance quarter, closing balance year. A lot of these are one variation of the other. Don't be scared of using them. We will not be using all of them. We will be just creating a small solution in which we can build upon and analyze our data. That said, we're going to be looking in the demo the following tasks. We're going to create a simple calendar table in case you're interested. It's very small, very simple. As mentioned before, don't expect it to be full-blown, detailed calendar table for you. And we're also going to be getting a calendar table from the Azure Data Market. Let's go to the demo. Let's go ahead and open the sample self-create calendar table workbook that we already have provided in your exercise files. We'll click open it and notice, as mentioned, it is very simple, not as detailed, and it serves as a starting point, as indicated from the beginning. You start with a date, as indicated here, the day, the month. We're using formulas, the month, name of the year, the weekday, and the week num. Guess what? You're probably already ahead of me. You start building, adding more dates, summing them, and it grows as you go by. That is just one possible option. We're not saying this is your option to do it, but it is here readily available for you in case you need it. Now, what if we want to go to the data marketplace and get our data free from there? Well, let's close this workbook, open Excel, a blank workbook, of course, and let's go into Power Pivot. You're already familiar where I'm heading right now, into the Power Pivot window. I'm clicking on it, and we're getting the window open. Now I'm going to click on Get External Data from the Home ribbon and click from Data Service. I'm going to click from Windows Azure Marketplace. Notice that it's asking, we're looking for date stream. And notice, we found it. We click on it and it's asking for an account. I'm going to log in with mine. And notice, we've been logged in. It's indicating who built this calendar. We have multiple calendars in Danish, German, Hebrew, by the hour minute, second, and Turkish. Notice that I'm unselecting these, and it still spans to the right. I'm unselecting Bulgarian and Italian. I am leaving for my own purposes the basic calendar English, basic calendar US, and extended calendar. The next step is just to click the Select Query button down here. I'll test the connection, and it is successful. You can rename it to a connection that makes more sense to you if you like. For the moment, I'm just going to leave it the default. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. Going to select all three tables, and as always, we could preview and filter. But I'm not going to unhide anything or hide anything at all. Notice that we can see anything, all the columns that are available. Click Cancel, and finally I click Finish. This might take a little while. Notice that it's importing, and it'll be quite a few records. Nothing daunting, but it will be something to keep in mind. So far we have 10,000, 20, somewhere around 40,000 should be where we're getting in total. It's getting close to that amount. Then it should move into the other table and keep on going. Notice it is quite a few. In case you are thinking, well, maybe it's not that much, notice we reached 73,000 just for the basic calendar English. Now it's starting with the basic calendar US. It's up to 20, keeps on going on to 30. Chances are it's going to be very close, if not the same or more about the previous one, basic calendar English. And it keeps on going. Now that we're approximating close of the third table, it's starting to import it and keeps on 10,000, 20. It is quite a few. Don't think that your data model is going to break. It can handle a lot of records. In fact, millions, billions. It's just going to be a huge workbook. Just keep that in mind. But you can do it. Now you're able to optimize the size of your workbook and formulas now. You have enough knowledge to do so. And notice that it finished with the same numbers on both first tables and the extended calendar as well. I click Close, and it is available in our data model. All three of these. What next? What would be next is to add relationships to the data you want to relate it to analyze, whether that's your internal sales, inventory, etc., etc. Those would be the next steps. In this second demo, we're going to be looking at utilizing time intelligence functions in a small solution that we have created. Let's go ahead and take a look at the demo. Let's start by opening Excel workbook, a blank workbook, and navigating to our Power Pivot window. Manage button. We're going to connect and get from an Access database. We're going to refer to our Contoso Sales Northwind Access database that we have here. We'll test the connection. It looks successful. We click Next. We're going to retrieve all those tables that are related to fact sales. click on the button, it already selects them for us automatically. I'll click Finish. Notice that we have millions, 1.6 million of 1.120. It's really growing. A lot of records in there. Should be somewhere around the vicinity of 2.5 that we will end up with. 2.5 million, I'm talking. So it's going to be a fairly large amount that will be processed. Notice, give or take what number I had predicted. I'll close. We have all our data in our data model imported. We have the dim channel. We have the dim dates. Dim product. Notice it takes sometimes a little bit to load because it's a lot of data, and it will vary depending on the hardware specification that you might have as well. I can switch back and forth just to try to get its attention. The promotion, sales, and guess what? Dim date is going to be our calendar table. It is readily available in there, and that is another choice that you're probably thinking maybe I can leverage from there. It is right there, and you could take a look at it and see if it fits your needs. So now what do we have to do? Let's give it a thought what we would like to do. We'd like to start looking at how we can leverage time intelligence functions. We have data readily available for us to analyze. Let's switch back to the workbook and give this some thought. Let's start by inserting pivot table into an external data source from an existing one into a new worksheet. I'm going to call this worksheet Time Intelligence, and going to collapse everything to make it easy to view. What we would like to start analyzing are the sales itself, but we would like the sales quantity. Let's click on that. You notice it already added it. We'd like to be able to analyze it by time, a year, group by year, probably quarter, and possibly month. Let's expand the dim date and start. We have a calendar year. Let's draw that on the rows, not on the filter, on the rows. And notice it's already starting to give us results. For 2007, we see the sum. Let's format that just to make it a little easier to read and go back to the pivot table. What else could we add to make it a lot more easier to read? Maybe the quarter label. Let's drag and drop it. And notice now we have it broken between quarters. We can take that a little bit further and drop the month label here. Notice we have them here organized. And here are the sums. It's giving us the sum of the sales for each of these months. And I already inadvertently clicked where I shouldn't have. But we'd like to see the concept of running totals, which would be listed here. It's giving us those totals automatically, but we'd like to see them going downwards. So let's keep that in mind and think how we can do that, which functions we could leverage right now. Just to start getting into that path, we could start adding a calculated field, which we will do right now. I'm going to cancel here and choose our fact sales. I'm going to name it calculated field sales quantity. I'm going to reuse the name, copy it down here in the description, and I'm going to start typing calculate sum fact sales, and we want the sales quantity from attribute from here. We have that. So let's close the parentheses, and now let's add this dates year to date. It's requiring a date. Well, let's try the date key from fact sales. Let's see if things work well. Check the formula. No errors. Let's add it and see what the results are. Well, they match exactly, but maybe we're missing something. We want running total, we're getting some totals, but this looks identical to what we've been doing. Maybe we're missing something. Let's go look at the formula once more. Well, what do you know? What would happen here if we would use the calendar date table, which is the dim date? Well, let's change that and see what happens. Let's highlight the entire text, remove it, start dim date, move downwards, and add another parentheses, closing the entire expression, and close it. Okay, we're starting to see some different numbers here. Notice that they do sound right around what we're looking for here. That would be what is a running total. Great. We have one thing, but what about comparison versus a previous year? How would we achieve that? We have used so far calculate and sum. What about that previous year formula that's available for us, the function? Let's go back into the calculated fields and add a new one. Remember to always choose the right table there, otherwise you'll get some strange results if you're lucky. And let's call it CF RT sales quantity previous year. We'll copy it into the description. Notice that it's not that descriptive, but we're going to go with that for the moment. And I'm going to start building the formula. Calculate sum. We're going to use a fact sales, and once again sales quantity. We're going to close the parentheses, and now we're going to use previous year. Notice that we have 4 of those available. You could do that easily with previous day, previous month, previous quarter, previous year. So now we're using previous year, and I'm going to use the calendar date table. Dim date, and choose date key. Closing the entire formula. It's without errors. And it's been added. Okay. We're seeing something strange here. We're not seeing any results for the previous year, which is 2006. This is what is blank. But we are seeing a comparison between 2008 and 2007. Notice that the values are there. It's starting to compare them. That's a starting point. That's good. So far, so good. What other way could we use to use a calculating total, running total? Let's try this other formula. And call it CF total year to date. I'm going to fix this typo. And I'm going to start using total year to date, sum. We're going to do the sum on fact sales quantity. So we're going to choose that attribute here. I'm going to close it, and once more we need to tell it a date. Dim date and the key. We've reached closing parentheses, and it seems to be in order. So let's click on it and see what else shows up here. Well, that is certainly another running total because it matches exactly to the previous one. That is a good thing. We are reaching the same results with different formulas, and that's one whole point too. You don't have to use a specific formula for something that can be done multiple ways. Now, wouldn't it be nice to know when did we start looking to our sales and which is the first date of a sale and the last? For that, let's go back into our Power Pivot window and let's go into our fact sales. Let's add a formula named calculated formula minimum year is equal minimum of, guess what, the date key. See if we get any error and expand. It's being a little stubborn here. And expanding it once more. We're attempting to do so. We are getting some data here. Nice. We got some data. Let's do the same with a calculated formula of maximum year. Max, the date key. We did get some data. We did not receive any error. And I continue attempting to expand this column, getting some results there. Now, let's create another calculated field named next year so that we can use another formula in there. We know we did get some data in here, and we get the values as we hover over them. Notice. So we have been successful in adding that value in there. Let's go and add another formula, calculated field, on our fact sales. We're going to name it calculate next year. We're going to use calculate and sum. It's going to be based on the fact sales, sales quantity of course, and here's where next year comes in. This is so we have an idea of what it might be. And notice that we check the formula and it is without errors. We click OK and it appears to our right. So now we are getting, instead of the previous time, no data for 2006. You can make the comparison towards the next year. We also can achieve a few things here. We go back in here. We use min and max here. That's not the only way we could have done that. We could have done that the following way. First date, and there's another function, first date for date key. We must have typed in something wrong. So I'm going to go and indicate the entire value there, fact sales, date key, it is successful. It's telling us the exact match that the other calculated field had. We can do the same for the last date. Let's attempt that too. Fact sales, and let's look for the date key. There we go. We hovered over it and compare. They both match successfully there. They work well. Now, let's create another field called calculated field sales between dates, which this one would help us, as you can hear, find the sales between certain dates. We're going to be basing it on fact sales, sales quantity. And we're going to use another function, dates in period. For the dim date key, and we're going to hard code here something. 2007 for the first day, first month, one number of interval, 1 year, and we're indicating the interval itself, which is a year. No errors so far. We're getting some number there. Let's switch back and add it. We're going to start removing a few of these so that we can have some real estate. Okay, notice we're getting some values in there. But that is just for one specific number there. What if we want to fix that and modify it again? Could we do that? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's change it to 2008 and see what happens. So far so good, no errors. You notice that we're getting values there. You're getting exact values there. Yes, you're wondering why is it the same number? Because we're telling it to do the sum. So don't think that there's an error there. We're telling it's a specific number, and we're telling it from between dates, and that's the exact number, so it's repeating itself. Okay. Now let's give it another thought. Should we create another formula that helps us find out the closing balance year? So let's do that. Create another one. Balance year sales. Copy that. And as you expected, we're going to do the closing balance here with another formula, sum X. On fact sales, quantity actually, we're just going to do it on that one, so we're going to go here and add just fact sales. The quantity, we close, and we do it on the date. Everything seems to match, no errors. Okay. Well, we don't get any data here. Let's go back and see why. Scroll down. We do see it on 2007 and 2008 and 2009 because there existed data there to compare against. And that's what it's comparing against. That said, give it a thought. There are more functions and ways you can integrate into this current small solution we built. There are furthermore that you can really adapt to your needs and take it to the further level to analyze more data.